Exposure is the quantity of light coming through the lens into the sensor. The exposure triangle, 3 points, 3 aspects of the camera that help control that light that's coming into the camera. So all 3 of these things affect that level, that amount of light. We have ISO, we have shutter speed, and we have aperture. ISO is the sensor's sensitivity to light. So if you increase the ISO, you make the sensor more sensitive to light, thereby brightening the image. The drawback is you introduce grain or noise to the image, so it degrades over time. The harder you push the ISO, the higher you increase that value, the more grain or noise you introduce to the equation. So you have to find that happy medium. Shutter speed controls the amount of light getting into the sensor, but it also controls the amount of motion blur in the image. So think about my waving hand example. If your shutter speed is too high, remember what you saw? It was super smooth. You saw every vector of motion. If it's too slow, it looks all jello-y, right? So our shutter speed needs to be in the perfect blend to mimic what our eyes are seeing, to get that motion blur to look realistic. And last but not least, we have our aperture, which is the bladed mechanism that we saw on the lens that we passed around. That controls the amount of light that's coming into the camera, but it also controls the depth of field, which is the amount that is in focus in the image. So if you ever forget, just think back to what I was saying about portrait mode and the Grand Canyon, right? How much do we want in focus? Just you or the whole scene? Okay, I will now take a bow. There we go, thank you. Right, so those 3 things, these are the keys to understanding how to set up a camera. There are other things you have to consider, of course, but these 3 things, if you understand this core, I swear I can give you any camera in that other room and you'd be fine. These are the things here. So we're going to spend time working them out, and once you guys get into groups and you're using the cameras, you'll be able to experiment with these values yourself. Okay? Any questions? Anyone feel lost? Okay, cool. How about you guys? Are you doing good on Zoom? Give me a hell yeah? Okay,